Welcome to Furong Town. We took just a 40-minute train from Phoenix Town, and now we're going to be spending the next 2 nights here. This is another gorgeous ancient town that lights up at night, but this one has a waterfall in the middle. So come along with us as we check out what this town has to offer and taste some of its great food.
Well, first order of business was to hike up and get an excellent view of the waterfall.
However, our second order of business is going to be finding something to eat. It's about 3:30, 4 o'clock, and we haven't anything to eat all day, so let's go find some yummy food.
We took a shortcut to the restaurant, which led us on a path where you can actually walk behind the waterfall.
So I found a restaurant on Dianping that was rated 4.8 stars and quite walkable to where we were, and we have come in. The waitress recommended the braised fish. She asked if we could eat spicy. I said yes. That might have been an error on my part. And then here, I thought I ordered the yam, but this looks like tofu, but either way, looks tasty. And then we've got rice, and we also have some braised pork belly coming.
We just finished up our dinner. And my favorite thing was the fish we had.
Yeah, the fish was fantastic. As I mentioned, that was the waitress's suggestion. And it really reminded me of a Thai curry because the strongest flavors were ginger and garlic and chili. And I will say that the chilies were not very spicy at all. It was more of like a jalapeno level of spicy. And then the pork, which was also very delicious, it had peppers that were more of like a poblano level of spicy. Some of them weren't spicy at all. So even though it looked like a ton of chili on there, it really was very manageable for anyone with almost any like spice tolerance. Everything there was really, really good. Definitely recommend the restaurant. I think that's one of the cheapest like sit down meals we've had in China as well. So the price was fantastic. I think we're going to continue walking around the old town a little bit and wait until it gets nice and dark because I have a feeling things are going to get very pretty very quickly.
So after dinner, we were walking around for a little bit, and this lady called us into our shop, and she was selling rice wine, which is known as baijiu. So we tried a few. She had different flavors. One was lychee, one tasted like peach, and then she had some unflavored ones as well. And we ended up buying a couple small bottles of them.
Yeah, that was very delicious. Now we've come back to our hotel, which, as you can see, we have a fantastic view from our balcony. And one thing you should know is that in order to visit Furong Town, you do have to buy an entry ticket. Since our hotel is actually inside of the ancient town, our host actually came and picked us up from the train station. He took us to the little booth where we bought our tickets. They were 95 yuan each, and they're good for 3 days. So that's nice. And then he helped us get our bags here because we actually had to drag them through some kind of cobblestone streets in order to get here. You can't drive through the main part of the old town, which of course is nice because it's a nice pedestrian area. It's quiet. There are a couple of shows that are also included in that ticket price. Tonight there is one at 7:30 and one at 8:30. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to make it to both, but we are going to try.
We left the first performance a little early in order to make it across town to see the second show. We were able to catch both shows, and the 7:30 show in the pavilion was okay, but the pavilion was a lot better.
Yeah, the pavilion itself was a beautiful, like, lit up structure, definitely worth visiting. But I would say that the 8:30 show is worth doing. So if you're looking to plan dinner around it or taking photos at night, skip the 7:30, do the 8:30. Also, the 8:30 is at like the very top of the town, so you can work your way down and get a gorgeous view of the waterfall. And I think we're gonna walk back behind it again. We did that earlier today, but now that it's dark and it's lit up, I wanna do it again.
So the good thing about Furong Town is that you can walk it in like 2 hours maybe.
Yeah, from all the way from top of the bridge to the top of the viewpoint with the theater, down through the waterfall and back. It is not bad at all. But now we have decided to have some drinks at the bar with the best view of Furong Town, which just happens to be our own balcony. We got some teas from a local tea shop. I have lemon, David has passion fruit, and then we have our bottle of Baijiu.
Well, blah.
Yeah, that kind of perfectly describes the weather. I don't know if you can see in the camera, but we can actually see our breath a little bit. Yeah. It is very cold and it is rainy today. It is crazy to think that just like 2 days ago, we were sweating at the Panda Park and it was like over 90 degrees. Yeah. And now today the high is in the low 50s.
So we're going to go out and get some of that spicy Hunan food to warm up.
Sounds like a plan. All right, so after watching a few other people clean their dishes, I have learned the technique. So whether it's tea or water, you still do it. And you just put your chopsticks in your teacup and you pour the tea down your chopsticks and you fill your teacup. Then you just get a napkin and you set your clean chopsticks on your napkin. Then you pour your tea into the bowl and then you flip your teacup over to sanitize the rim, and then you kind of swish it around and you dump it in there. And then you actually take all of your plastic trash and you put it in the bowl with the tea, which seems weird, but that's what you do. And then you refill your teacup with tea or hot water to drink. So the chef came over to our table and he came with a big red chili to ask us if we could eat chili. And I was like, yes, because I wanted to see if we could finally get some spicy Hunan food, and the food still isn't spicy. It looks like it would be, right? You can see here, we've got some good red peppers, but watch. Nope. And I don't even think it's because we lived in Mexico for 2 years. I just don't think it's that spicy. Now, we did have a garden back in North Carolina, and I know that when it got hot, the peppers got hotter. So maybe their food is spicier if you come in the summer. But where we're here and it's kind of cool, no, not that spicy.
Well, as Georgia said, that meal wasn't very spicy, but it was very delicious.
It really was. Both the beef and the pork stir-fried with all those peppers. Super yummy. The beef had like celery and garlic and ginger in it. And the cabbage even was really good. And then their tea was like a toasted rice tea. So it had this nice toasty flavor. And of course, on a cold, wet day,
We drank 2 pots of
it was really nice to have some hot tea. And speaking of, I think we're going to go get more tea because it is raining again, as you can tell I have my hood on. So I think we're going to duck inside and get a tea.
We learned that this bridge was made without using any nails. It's just interlocking wood. So we spent the whole afternoon back in the hotel because it started raining a little harder and the temperature dropped down into the 40s.
Yeah, it's very cold. We did watch the movie Avatar, though, which I felt was very fitting because our next stop tomorrow is Zhangjiajie, which we are very excited to show you guys. But now we've gotten hungry, and so we're going to brave the cold and the noise and go get something to eat. So this was our hotel room for the past 2 nights in Furong Town. I mean, so when you first come in the door, there is like the sink set up here with a light up mirror. You can see here, there's some like maintenance issues. You can also see like down here. This also was not the cleanest hotel. It's probably the least clean of the ones we've stayed at in China. You can see this is the toilet area. It does say not to flush toilet paper here, kind of like in Mexico. And then both of these shower heads were broken. They just sprayed water, it's mostly sideways. So it was also not a great shower experience. Here you can see we had a big TV. I don't know if you can see here, but like somebody spilled stuff all over it and never got cleaned up. We've got a small bed that we used for storage and then a nice big comfortable bed. You can see there they have a cute little painting behind the beds. Best thing about this place, as we said many times, was the view from our wraparound balcony. It is a really great location, but there is a bar downstairs that's a karaoke bar, and they do karaoke till midnight, very, very loudly. And then the other thing is there's no elevator here, so you do have to carry your bags, and the lobby's on the 3rd floor, so we got to carry the bags down 2 floors of narrow stairs. So just things to keep in mind. Like I said, great location, great view, but not very clean. And now for that cost breakdown. That upgraded room cost us just $100 for 2 nights. We spent $6 on transportation, $26 on entertainment, which was just the ticket to enter the town. We spent $29 at bars and on alcohol, and just $68 at restaurants. That brings our grand total to $229 or $115 per day. Not included in that total was the train from Phoenix Town, which cost $17 for 2 tickets. Thanks for watching, and as always, if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, please leave them down below. If you haven't already, check out our last week's video where we explore Phoenix Town.